really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
That's why it's really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is impermanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
And we are live. Welcome, you absolutely filthy degenerates, to another episode of the Degen Roundtable. It's not a regular Whiskey Wednesday episode, nor is it a special guest episode. This is going to be a special announcements episode. We are officially going to, well, it's already actually live, but we are officially announcing to the rest of YouTube that the DegenRIPPEDTable section of the DRT is now official and live. And what we wanted to come on and tell you folks here today is precisely the reasons why we decided to expand outside of just crypto and macroeconomics, and what can you expect from this particular segment that we will be hosting on our Fridays before book club, and just overall the reasons why we decided to do it, right? And so if you folks have been following us for a while, you know that I am a very big proponent of not just addressing one avenue of your health, right? For those of you who don't know, that there are, when people think health and wellness, right, they only think of the fitness side, right? They only think of the nutrition. But for those of you who spend some time in academia studying exercise nutrition, you know that there's the physical fitness aspect, right? There's mental, there's emotional, there's spiritual, there's financial, there's environmental, believe it or not. And I believe the last one is economical, right? So there's 7 aspects. And so I always try and promote when I'm speaking with people that you want to be able to address every single aspect of your health and wellness, because the totality of those things actually contribute to not only the how long you're going to live, right, your longevity, but also to the quality of your life, right? Not just with yourself, but with the rest of your friends and your family and your community. And so here at the Degen Roundtable, you guys obviously know that we are trying to address one of those aspects, right? We're trying to address the financial health, right? We're trying to achieve financial freedom, not just for ourselves, but we created this community to help others achieve financial freedom with themselves as well. But for those of you who have known me for a while, know that I am a very big proponent of, even if you get rich in crypto and you achieve that escape velocity, if you don't have the physical health and wellness to go along with it, then it's not going to equate to a very productive, happy, fruitful life, right? Because at least for me personally, and I think a lot of you and even some of the team members can probably attest to this, is that they might know somebody close to them, or just know somebody in general that they have the wealth aspect, right? But they spent so much of their lives trying to achieve this financial freedom that they let their physical fitness go by the wayside. And as a result of that, in their older years, they spend a lot of that money in hospitals, trying to get themselves better, and they can't really enjoy the time that they would have otherwise accumulated if they also took care of their physical fitness as well, right? They're not able to enjoy that time with their families, with their friends, with their loved ones, because they spend so much of it in hospitals trying to get themselves better from the sickness that they have created, because they've just let the fitness and the nutrition go by the wayside. And so that's one of the primary reasons why we wanted to expand to the fitness and nutrition space as well, because we here at the DRT, we are men and women of many talents. And our producer, Mrs. McGettit, actually said it earlier this morning, is that she doesn't want, and I think this is also reflective of what the rest of the team believes, is that she just doesn't want the DGen Roundtable to box themselves into this one tiny aspect, right? Even though we care a lot about crypto, we want to be able to help others in all in as many avenues of life as possible. And so this is one of the primary reasons why we're expanding the DGen Roundtable to cover fitness and nutrition as well. From my team and from the rest of the panel here with me today, can you give the audience a bit of an insight on your reasons why you were so on board with expanding DRT to more than just crypto, but in this case, with fitness and nutrition in particular? Z, my co-host, Senor, why don't we start with you, brother?
Good to see you, Jay. Yeah, this is another foray for the team. Obviously, we're going to still be hitting our bread and butter, which is crypto and macroeconomics, mainly just practical investing in the new cutting edge space that is crypto. But like with all the crypto stuff, if it's going to be very hard for you to find a crypto topic outside of just the basics that all 10 of us over here agree with. And I have no doubt that when it comes to everything else, you're going to find 10 similar-ish, but rather varying opinions as well. So as far as the fitness stuff goes, I come from maybe a little bit of a different approach, as instead of a holistic picture, it's more of a brutalist picture, which is get fit or die. Suffer now or suffer later. Pick one. That's really it.
Yeah.
Do it for yourself. Do it so that you can actually live long and achieve all the other goals you want to achieve. And then also at the same time, for anybody out there who has maybe an injury or two, cough, cough, old man Z. Yeah. Preventative maintenance is not just a thing for machinery, but also your body, or as Mr. Angry Twinkie is referring to it as, your meat wagon. Make sure your meat wagon is not beyond use.
I'm going to start taking notes here because Z brought up a few good points there. One of them being preventative maintenance. We can go ahead and jump into that topic a little bit later on down the line. But, the brutalist picture that Z kind of painted for everybody here is actually also a very good point. One of my mentors, you guys might be familiar with him. He's Tony Horton. He's the creator of the very popular home fitness program P90X, which is where I get my X handle _P90 Hex. One of the core tenets that he preaches to his clients is we do indoor fitness for the outside world, right? Because it's fun being able to move and lift and be athletic inside, right? When you're playing a sport, or maybe if you're doing it just for pure vanity reasons. But at a certain point, that physicality that you build inside the gym, right, you're going to be able to make use of it outside of the gym too, right? It makes you more durable, which contributes to that longevity and quality of life aspect that I spoke about earlier. So very good points there, Zenith. How about you, Nate, Will, Josh? Give the folks a bit of insight why you wanted to join us on this journey as well.
Yeah, well, this is something. So like at my job, I'm out driving around. I am out and about and I'm walking a lot. But basically the only things available to eat are basically just fast food, right? And over the years, I have gained a little bit of a gut, so for me, I'm like, yeah, I definitely need to get back to being fit. Right. And so I was thinking to myself, all right, so one thing that's difficult to do is to just do something, try and stick with it every single day, and always be in your own head of like, maybe I'll skip it today. Maybe I won't, like that. And so, shout out to Josh over here, and you can go ahead and talk about this, but I'll just give a quick little synopsis, basically, that Josh he started a little Telegram channel between all the leaders here, and he just called it accountability. And basically he said he was going to do a thing, and it was up to us to hold him accountable. And I myself, I think I'm going to head that direction as well, where I'm going to utilize you guys, right? So that way I can start kind of my own little journey to being more muscular, so to say, right? And also healthier though as well. I just recently I had one of these moments where it's almost like you realize how old you're getting, because what I was doing for a while was I was just jumping fences, right? And I would just, whoop over, just one jump. And it was especially handy during wintertime, when all the gates are freaking stuck in snow. But this last winter, I tried to do it, and I actually struggled to get around, and I had to take like multiple steps to get over the freaking fence. And I was like, it just hit me like a truck, like nuts. This is either old age or I'm not fit enough. And I'm pretty sure it's
combination of both.
Not fit enough. And then I also had another moment though too that was weird, where like I simply did a little step up, right? And just pulling my body weight up. Now, granted, I did have 4 gallons of water on my back, so I mean that didn't help. But just doing that one little step up, you know, pulling my entire body weight up, for whatever reason, it just ruined my knee. I had a bad injury come out of that to the point where I could almost had to go home. So that right there is, I would say that's an age thing, you know, and it's hitting me now that, you know, I'm no longer that 22-year-old who can freaking jump or can climb a freaking building, a barn, and fall off of it and be like, ouch, that hurt. I'll be okay the next day though, you know? So yep, this is definitely a part of that.
Yeah, what's that old saying, Nate? Father Time makes fools of us all, right? What Mother Nature gives, Father Time always takes away. And I think you're experiencing a little bit of that, right? You're you know, not just with age, but with the decreasing fitness. But that's one of the things that we want to help people with, right? Because we know that as you get older, you're not going to be as, you know, as limber and as fit and as agile as you used to be. However, I think, you know, there's a common saying that age is just a number. I think, you know, there's a lot of truth to that statement. Just because you're 40 or you're 50 or you're 60 years old does not mean that you should not be able to enjoy the kind of quality of life that somebody who's 60 years old would be able to do if they took care of their not just their financial health, but their fitness and nutrition as well. And so that's one of the things that we want to accomplish here with the it's still DRT. So shout out to Mr. Nate the Great. He's actually the one who gave us that name. So thank you, my friend. Will, Josh, how about the both of you?
What was the question again? Like, why do we do fitness, or like, how did we get here?
Why did, you know, we as a team, and you in particular, want to expand Degen Roundtable to more than just something for, you know, for finances and for crypto and for macroeconomics, into a more broader approach, in this case, fitness and nutrition?
Oh, okay. Well, like from a broad perspective, I just noticed that like there were other chats going on in the chat room, and so I wanted to open up the topics for, like, you know, the guys to talk about their anime in a separate place, the dudes to talk about their sports ball in a separate place. There's other topics and things that might get added later on down the road, but that was just the general idea. Is like people were talking about other things anyways, and so if people are going to be talking about separate things, then it's beneficial for us to separate them and like categorize and things. As far as the fitness goes, like, yeah, you nailed it on the head. If you have all this money and you have all this wealth, but you don't have like any health to enjoy it with, then you're going to live a much less high leveraged life, I suppose. So yeah, I think that health is very important. I think that money is very important, and I think that relationships with people are very important. And those are the basic big 3 things that you need to invest in when it comes to like things that you can control and things of that nature.
Hey,
So,
Will,
Absolutely.
what are you doing in the accountability chat? Because you got something really interesting going on in there.
Yeah, tell us a little bit of what you're doing, Will.
Yeah, so what I'm doing, so you guys will see from time to time that I have like a mace that I hang around with on stream. And so the thing that I have committed to, and I've been doing this for probably about 4 months now. The thing that I'm doing is I'm swinging my mace 1 million times this year. And so I originally committed to that number without doing the math beforehand and realizing how much I have to swing a mace every single day. But it averages about 3,000 swings every single day. So I have to swing my mace 3,000 times. And so so what I do is I just basically write the day, and I write that I've done 3,000 swings, and then I post it, and then that's it. And like, I'm not going to record 30 minutes of me sitting there like, haha, swinging a mace or whatever, you know, because that's a bit silly. But that's the thing that I do in the chats, and that's the thing that I do to keep up with my fitness. I also just the other day, because I travel a lot, I bought one of these Bad Man pajamas. I don't know if you guys have ever seen these before, but cool. These things are fucking awesome. It's basically just a push-up board, and you've got all these different types of like muscle groups that are targeted by the push-up, so that they're basically exactly identical with each other, right? But you've got all these different muscle groups that are targeted in this push-up board thing. And so you can do like shoulders are all the white stuff, chest is all the green stuff, back is the red stuff, and then triceps is targeted like with the blue stuff. And I don't know if it actually fucking targets those muscle groups. I could give a shit less about that. I'm just excited to have like a cool thing that I can switch up the way that I do push-ups. And I hate doing push-ups on the ground. It fucks with my wrists and my joints and everything. So I like having the bars that I can grab onto, and then I can do like, I can just rip some out, and then I can fold this bitch up, throw it in my truck anywhere, and then go on the move. So those are the things that I do. My main focus is, again, swinging my mace around. I have a 7-pound mace, a 10-pound, a 15, a 20, and a 25. I'm only traveling with the 7, 10, and 15 right now. And I only really bust out the 10 and 15 when I'm really feeling like punishing myself. But for the most part, I swing my 7. So you can get these maces at Joe Rogan's On It website, onnit.com. So yeah, it's super cool. But that's what I'm doing, is I'm swinging maces. And right now I'm on a diet thing. I'm actually taking after Josh's program a little bit. I'm doing 1 meal a day carnivore. Yeah, so that's the thing that I'm doing. I'm doing a little bit less strict. I'm including like cheeses and butter and dairy products and, you know, like yogurt and things like that. So it's a little bit less stringent. But I'll tell you what, Josh, 1 meal a day changes the way that you focus on things. And, you know, actually this is a good transition. Josh, would you like to tell the folks at home what you're doing and how your fitness journey is going?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to get into that. I want to answer Jay's question first. And first, I want to apologize if I sound nasally or if I have to stop to cough. I'm souped up on Sudafed and Claritin right now. My allergies are kicking my ass. So made a little weekend trip down to Virginia, and I forgot how drastically different the pollen level is down in Virginia compared to Maryland. So I'm going to apologize for that. But it's funny you brought up Joe Rogan, Will. You know, I started really listening to Joe Rogan's podcast religiously probably about 3 years ago. I'm a fan of his comedy, and I'm a fan of the conversations that he has with people. But one thing that I noticed as days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and months turned into years of constantly listening to him is the influence that he would have when it comes to knowledge about fitness, knowledge about lifting weights, nutrition, and all this stuff. Like, it wouldn't even be a primary part of the conversation, but you know, him and his guests, they would segue off of it and they would have like a 15-20 minute conversation. And so while I was listening to him for the content, as far as like for the comedy and for the range of guests that he had on, I was indirectly getting these little drops of knowledge and these little drops of things that could improve yourself. And so that's why I am all about this channel doing something that has to do with finance, because it happened to me. I, you know, over the last 3 years, my motivation and the guilt that I would put on myself when I would get too lazy, when I would run into streaks where, you know, oh, I haven't worked out in a while or something like that, you know, I would really start to feel a lot more guilty because I was still getting that information, even as I was listening to more and more Rogan. So I think it's very important. I think there are a lot of similarities between financial strength and taking care of fitness. And I think it's a natural part of the conversation that, you know, if we're about improving people's lives and trying to help improve people in one aspect, we should open it up to other aspects. And I think that's important. So I listed 3 things. Number 1 is, what's the point in making bank if you can't fully enjoy it? Right? Like, what is the point in doing that? If you are struggling because of your fitness level or because of your nutrition, what's the point in becoming a millionaire or a billionaire if you're not going to fully be able to enjoy it? Number 2, Nate had mentioned this a little bit, like as he's gotten older, he's starting to feel things. And same thing with me. So I'm sure it's the same thing with everyone here. But what I came to realize is motion is lotion. All right. The more you can move your body, I'm serious. Motion is lotion. The more you do that, the better you feel, the more your joints don't hurt as much. And you're constantly repping yourself to make sure that you don't have that inflammation and stuff like that. So that's the second point. Number 3, it's already somewhat been mentioned, but father time defeats everyone. All right. It's a matter of fact. Father time defeats everyone, but we can make a conscious effort to delay that as much as possible. Yes. We have to make a conscious effort in order to be able to get off the couch, because that's the biggest thing, is just making the determination to start working out. Because what I realized, and, you know, as I get into some of the stuff that I've done throughout the course of the podcast, if we want to have that conversation, we can do that. What I realized, and just one point that I want to make, is when I made it a determination, when I told myself, I'm not going to think about tomorrow. I'm not going to think about next week. I'm not going to think about next month. All I'm going to focus on is getting through the pain right now. That's it. I'm not worried about tomorrow. Tomorrow will be easier. Today's going to be the hardest part. I'm going to get through it today. And that's all I'm going to do. And what I realized is just having that mindset about one specific thing, exercising, it has drastically improved my laziness in other aspects of life. Since the end of February, there hasn't been one time where I haven't been like, all right, look, I need to go to the grocery store. I'm going to go knock this out. I need to get to the grocery store. Oh, I got an activity that I need to knock out with my daughter. Boom, let's go get her. You know, before it was easy to just push it off. I'll go tomorrow. Oh, I'll do something else. So just having that discipline to be able to do that in one aspect, it's going to have a multitude of benefits throughout the other aspects of life. And that's just one part. That just has to do with laziness, determination, getting off your butt and going and doing something. So, but that's my little 2 cents. And yeah, excited to be a part of the conversation and to contribute as best that I can.
Wonderful.
I have a just one quick little thing to add to that. When you said that like the motion is lotion, that reminded me of like this old saying that I heard from like some old dude that I befriended back up in Washington. And there's a lot of like lumberjack lifestyle and timber lifestyle up there. And he was telling me that the axe that's always swinging never gets rusty. So like to remember that like if you've got tools or if you've got something in life that you're not using or whatever, it's going to like decay and it's going to corrode and it's going to go bad. You know, same thing with our bodies. If you see people like, you know, when you sit down on your foot for too long and it goes numb and then you go to like stand up and you feel those pins and needles, like you can extrapolate that out in like incredibly far with the human body. Like people get sores from laying in bed for too much or too long or whatever. So like, it's important to stay active. It's important to go out and do things. It's important to like take these small steps and like you were saying, build these little habits that help us like reinforce other parts of our lives. And you know, the like just kicking laziness in the ass and kicking like that little inner bitch that Joe Rogan likes to say, the inner bitch that's inside of our head that tells us like, oh, you shouldn't do that, you're warm and comfortable right now, like you don't want to stop being lazy, blah blah blah. Like whatever you got to do to silence that inner bitch, that's the way to go. And you know, the swinging axe never gets rusty. So that's all I had. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. No, I mean, a very good point, because I shared this in the fitness chat the other day, and it was actually a video of People's Park in China. For those of you who really want to get some inspiration, People's Park in China, they have videos on YouTube of folks well within their 60s, their 70s, their 80s, and they are on the jungle gyms. They are doing workouts. They're swinging around like they're gymnasts, doing parkour, doing pull-ups, things that you would not believe that somebody at that age would be able to do. But there are those folks right there, People's Park in China. Look it up on YouTube right now, and you will be amazed at what you are capable of if you maintain some modicum of exercise and training throughout your life, right? And that's exactly what I was alluding to earlier, that those people are perfect representations of what you're capable of, what quality of life you could achieve, even if you're 60 or 70 or 80 years old, if you actually took the time to address the physical fitness and nutrition part of your life alongside the financial part, right? I think it was Nate the Great, who actually also chimed in the chat. He was like, yeah, you know what? I guess they're training for when the CCP comes knocking on their door. So they could also be training for that. Well, yeah, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this show, I just want to go ahead and say a quick hello to the folks who are joining us this wonderful evening. I see our buddy Crypto Sloth made it. It's very nice to see you as well, my friend. Glad you can make it. Tam Tam, as always, the #1 cheerleader. Glad you can make it here, my dear. I don't think we've ever gone a stream, not a single time, where you didn't make an appearance and spend some time with us. So thank you once again for being here. Mr. Angry Twinkie, very nice to see you. Paul Sachs, he asks, Rosy Palm forearm workout count? I think that counts, man. If you're getting gains out of it, then I say keep at it, brother. Mr. Funk Master Hex, good to see you as well, my friend. Let's see. Dre Sims, this guy too. A big shout out to Dre. He's definitely one of our success stories. This guy lost, I believe it was something like 60 to 80 pounds. He had some before and after pictures during the peak of his we call it dreamer bulk in the industry to where he's at now. So a big shout out to Dre for keeping the consistency and momentum going. So glad you could be on that journey here with us, my friend. Let's see who else I saw. When Mr. Fast Abdul is asking, when is the Pulse Fight Club? If for those folks that are not aware, I believe Fast Abdul is actually an avid participant in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So don't mess with this guy, man. He does more than develop cool programs and cool protocols. So let's see. Am I missing anybody else here? Mr. Allen Fizame. I only work out the one muscle that counts. Your brain?
I think there are a couple different options for that one.
Yeah,
I'm thinking that's the wrong head.
Maybe his heart. Maybe he has a big heart. Oh, actually, no, that's not a good thing. You don't want a hypertrophied heart. That's not a good thing. All right. Okay. So I think that's oh wait, no, I see Russ here. Russ made it very last minute. Very, very glad to see you here, my friend. Okay, so guys, believe it or not, Josh was actually the one who decided to create our team accountability chat, right? And accountability, I think, is one of the primary reasons why we wanted to create this particular space within our community, right? Me personally, as a coach, I have been coaching for a considerable amount of time. I've been coaching powerlifting since 2016, so almost an entire decade. And the most success that I have seen with folks, right, is when they have a group of people, whether it's a spouse or a community, that help keep them accountable, right? That they're responsible, that help them in their journey, right? Because they're responsible to each other. And so, Josh, can you give the folks a bit of insight in how having that, just the accountability chat of us checking in with each other, how and why that has contributed to your success, and why you believe it'll, contribute to the community's success as well if they decide to engage in this?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who has ever had to challenge, anybody who has had to overcome something challenging in life, it doesn't matter what it was. It could be alcoholism. It could be drugs. It could be something like fitness. It doesn't matter what it is. It's always best to have a support system. And you can make plans all day. You can tell yourself you're going to do stuff. You can even write it down. But when you make the conscious effort to go forward and make it public with what your plans are, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm trusting you guys to keep me accountable to this. That's a different step. That takes commitment, and that takes a little bit of humility. It takes vulnerability to do that, because nobody likes admitting, aspects of their life that they're faulting in. So being able to make that step, and, it really does strengthen relationships down the road. When I initially set it up, I remember setting it up at the end of February, and I was just like, hey, I think this is something cool that we could do. Cause Jay, I know that you're a workhorse in the weight room. I know that Dace is also, I know that Will, does his thing. And I thought it would be cool to sort of post something like that, just as another space to get some information in there and to sort of create more of a stronger accountability setup. And I've just been blown away. Jay, you're constantly posting in there every single day. Dace is doing the exact same thing. Will is doing it also. But to me, Cassie, how committed she has been. Like every single day that I open up my computer, I see that, and she had conversations with us in private about how it was a little difficult due to things going on in life and stuff like that. But she has put forth the effort, and every single day she is posting her stats and stuff like that. And it is just phenomenal to see. And I can't wait to hear her success. But it goes, it's motivation is what it is. It's, being able to accomplish something and to share that with people who are going to celebrate it with you. And it really makes you drive the extra mile to continue to put in the work and to celebrate the wins every single day that you do. So that was my mindset behind doing it. I had probably gone 3 or 4 weeks leading up to that point where I think I made a trip down to Florida is when I made a trip down to Florida, and I was hanging out in Daytona, and then went over to Clearwater, and I just decided, I was like, you know what? I know I go to Daytona every year. When I come back, it's time for some lifestyle changes, and you guys, y'all's example that you guys have set and the lifestyles that you guys have were really motivating. And to me, I just wasn't happy with being the heavy guy on the camera. That's just, I wasn't happy doing that. And to me, it decided to make a change. So it started with my diet, which I decided, okay, I think I want to go to 1 meal a day. I want to do the 23-in-1 fasting, and I want to go to the carnivore diet. I just wanted to try. I didn't think it would be long-term. I just said, I want to try carnivore for about a month, see how it plays out. And sure enough, that was at the end of February, and I'm stuck on it. So this right here, this is a 16-ounce ribeye. Or I'm sorry, this is a 16-ounce New York strip, and this is an 8-ounce ground beef burger. So the only thing I have to eat every single day, and my body has gotten used to this, I will cut this in half, and I will eat one on one day with a burger, and then the other half I'll eat the next day with another burger. And what I realized is initially it was super tough, okay? But that was, I had to tell myself, don't be a bitch, just suck it up, pound some water if you're still hungry, get through it. And sure enough, about a day or two later, you start understanding that, hey, it's not so much that I'm hungry, it's more so sugar cravings, especially if you're loading up on the pastas and the carbs and the sweets and stuff like that. And so just making that little change, then I switched because I like soda. I'm a big Coca-Cola guy. Decided to switch. You know what? I'm going to go to Coke Zero. That's what I'm going to go to. And I decided no more sugar in my coffee every morning. I get the sugar-free creamer because I don't do black coffee. I haven't been able to do black coffee ever. So I still need a little bit to cut that up with. But yeah, like Will said, it definitely changes up how you think about food. It simplifies things. It really does. It simplifies it, and it gives you more of an appreciation, because what I realized is I was eating food for my pleasure when really, since I've been doing this, I'm just eating food now for energy. That's all I'm doing. Yeah, it's been super successful. You guys have said that you can see it on camera. Jay, I know I FaceTime you and you mentioned that you could see it. That's super cool. I know I'm starting to notice it more in my t-shirts and stuff like that. But that's just part of it. That's just, the nutrition route that I've decided to do. I also supplement with AG1, big supporter of the Joe Rogan Network. He endorses AG1. So I do AG1 to, get myself the nutrients and the vitamins and stuff like that. And I also do a protein shake every now and then if I get too hungry. But yeah, that pretty much sums up, and that's the nutrition portion. That doesn't count the physical training portion, which I'm sure we'll get into. But that's just a little bit of my thought process leading up to it, and then my dedication to get to that point. And I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. I'm going on a cruise in like a week and a half. And when I booked this cruise, I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pig out, and I'm not going to work out for a week when I initially set the cruise. But now I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to restrict my diet, but I'm still going to work out while I'm on the cruise ship every day. Even if it's something like a light walk or doing something, simple in the weight room or something like that. So that's even changed because I enjoy the way that I feel now. Yep. So, yeah.
It's really hard to stop, Josh. And this is not something that's isolated to you, brother. This is something that a lot of my, me personally with my clients experience is that once they start moving, right? Once they get on that program and they realize what their body is capable of, if you actually took the time and put a little bit of effort into taking care of that body, they're amazed at what they're capable of, right? And so they don't want to lose that feeling. And so they just kind of maintain what they've been doing on their, their what it was supposed to be like a 10 or a 16-week workout and nutrition plan, and they try to stay with it for that forever, because now they've gotten a taste of what exactly what their body is able to do if they just put a little bit of effort in taking care of it. Speaking of accountability, man, I'm telling you, when Will in particular, right? Whenever he misses a workout, he does something crazy. So when Will misses his 3,000 swings a day, he's done this on multiple occasions where he will do 2 to 3 days worth of swings in one. So sometimes he'll go in there and be like, yeah, man, I just did 10,000 swings. So why do you put yourself through that? And why do you feel the need to report to us, brother, you're actually out there putting in the work?
Well, I feel the need to report it because that's kind of like it's building a pattern of consistency and like even when I'm inconsistent and I miss some days, like making those days up all in one chunk is important to it's important to me for my own like personal sense of like who I am and who I think that I am. And I think that it's important to to write it down because that makes it like more real. And if I'm the only one that knows about this, then the odds that like it's just one person, it's just me inside my own head, and it's like there's no one else that has this perceived image of who is Will and what is he doing, right? But when I talk to you guys about it, like the 10 of us in the leadership chat, then it's like, oh, now there's 9 people with eyes on me. That's 18 eyeballs. That's 9 different brains that are that just have this idea of, oh, this is a person who does a thing. So I want to be the person that does the thing that I say that I'm going to do. And so when I miss a day, it's like, oh shit, well, I better double up. And so like the craziest day I've done so far is a 12,000 swing day, and that's 4 days worth of swinging in one, and that takes about 2 hours, a little bit longer. And if I'm walking while swinging, then it takes approximately 5 or 6 miles, something like that, to walk around and swing. But that's why I do it. Well, was that your whole question? I can't remember.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, yep. You brought up a really good point, and it's one of the great things about why we wanted to expand this. And me and Cassie were talking about this today because I woke up a little bit late this morning and I was exhausted from the day before, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna skip the gym session today. But I didn't. And the reason why is, being in this team, being in this community, I have gone to know the people on our team fairly well over the past year, and I have developed great admiration and respect from each and every single one of you. And one of the reasons why that is because you have proven to me that you put out quality work, that you are there when we need you, and that you care about not just us, but the rest of the community, right? And so when I know these people in my corner that adhere to their word, right? They fulfill their promises, and they fulfill their responsibilities. If I tell these people something that I'm going to do it, and then I don't do it, it makes me feel some type of way. As in, like, it makes me feel absolutely fucking shitty because I know the people in my corner, the people in my team are out there doing the work that they're supposed to be doing, that they tell me they're doing, right? They're fulfilling those promises. And if I can't fulfill the promises that I keep to myself and to the rest of my team and to the community, then why the fuck should anybody trust what I have to say? Why should you trust my word if I can't even do something as simple as keep a promise to myself? And so for me personally, that's why that accountability is so fucking powerful, because I care about my team and my community's perception of me, right? Because I trust and respect you guys. Nate, Zenith, how has your experience been? Maybe not with the accountability chat in general, but just your experience with having a team to help keep you in line, help keep you accountable, keep promises that you make to yourself and to others.
Go for it, Nate.
Yeah, so for me, this is something that Cass and I were kind of talking about. Like all my life, I've had groups of friends, right? However, I've always been the only doer in those groups, and there's a lot of talkers that I've always had friends with, right? But this is the first group I've ever been with where sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough. And it's the first time I've ever felt that, where I'm seeing you guys running around doing all these things, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm like, am I lazy over here? And it starts bothering me, right? And that kind of kicks my ass a little bit to be like, okay, I think I need to move forward with some of the plans that I already had, hence why what I'm doing with like the Phantom networks and stuff like that. The other thing too is I just put it in the accountability chat right now. But should I go ahead and announce it live here? What I'm gonna do? I've been kind of saying, juggling with this. Should I do it? Should I not? Fuck it, I'll say it. So what I'm going to be doing, right, is I'm going to be doing 1,000 push-ups a month.
Hell yeah,
That's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, I'm going to start off simple, and I'm going to kind of take what Will's sort of doing, except for me, it's just going to be push-ups every single day. I'll do a certain number, and if I happen to miss a day, then I'm going to have to double it. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And here's the thing. So if I end up missing a day, or like let's say I skip a day, and then I'm like, I'll just do double the next day, and then I happen to miss that because it's like too much or something. That, as you're talking about, Jay, that's gonna make me feel really bad, because then you guys get to roast the hell out of me, and that's not gonna be a good thing. So
yeah, one of the things that I'm terrified of is that I have to come into the chat and say, guys, I didn't keep the promise that I made to myself and to all of you, right? Like for me, that elicits some kind of shame response, right? And I don't want that, right? And so that's what that, like, for me personally, that's why it's so effective, right? A lot of people might not think that's healthy, but shit, man, it works really well, right? When you have people that you're accountable to. Nate, there's one thing that you were speaking about that really sparked something in my in my little noggin here. And you said that you wanted to start out simple, right? Something that's easily achievable. Well, 1,000 push-ups for the month. I want to get everybody's thoughts on this. Why do you think simple is really effective when you're just starting out when it comes to fitness and nutrition?
I can answer this one, but I'll let everybody else kind of jump in first.
Z, we haven't heard from you yet, brother. Why don't you take this one first, brother?
Getting in, keeping things simple helps because it doesn't overcomplicate and it doesn't overwhelm. If you can create that first win very quickly, that's going to be one of those keys to like really kind of like hacking your brain a little bit, or just hitting you with that dopamine rush to make things feel worth it. So simplicity is absolutely something that can help you get into this, whether it's the actual portion of the dieting or being physical, or honestly just trying to get your body moving. A lot of people are into the fitness tracker stuff. One of the things I've seen is like people just shoot for the goal of trying to walk so many steps per day or per week, and you can get real creative with this stuff. But the idea is that if you lower that the barrier to entry, it means that more people are going to be able to get in more consistently, and chances are you're probably going to stick with it because it doesn't require as much effort from you, and you're starting to build those habits eventually. So simplicity is good in pretty much every step of the way. In whenever you're trying to convince people to do anything, really, it's salesmanship, it's habit building, it's just simple.
Yes, absolutely.
That answer your question?
Yes, sir. No, I mean, me personally, I take the same approach with a lot of my clients because you know how folks are, man. When they want to get started, they want to throw the kitchen sink and everything at it, right? They think that they can cut out carbs, they can cut out fat, they could just do protein, they could work out 7 days a week for anywhere between 90 minutes to 2 hours. They're going to walk 10,000 steps. They're going to get rid of all the things that they used to love to eat. And they have this habit of overcomplicating things. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people fall off the wagon, right? Is because they try too many complex things at once. Well, Josh, I want to get your thoughts on this. Why do you think keeping things simple is so effective for people to build momentum into success?
You want me to go first? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I'll keep the answer simple since we're talking about simple stuff. Simple creates accomplishment, which creates motivation, which, creates habits. That's sort of the start and end point. I can repeat it again if I need to, but I don't think I need to. Creating solid habits is most easily done when you are able to achieve simple things at first. And as you continue to build those healthy habits and your motivation continues to grow, it really will become an addiction. And then at that point, that's when you can start making things complex and stuff like that. Plus, it provides confidence, and confidence is huge. Having the confidence to, maybe run 2.5 miles as opposed to just 2 miles, or, lift, an extra 5 reps as opposed to just stopping at 10. Confidence is huge, but creating those solid habits is what will lead to sustained success. Will, what do you think?
I was just gonna say it works. Keeping it simple.
Well, I mean, you can't get any simpler than that. Look, one of the reasons why I'm such a big proponent for simplicity, Alan actually mentioned it in the chat here. He mentions that small wins every day, that gets me out of ruts and keeps me on track. It's really easy to accumulate those small wins when you keep things simple. When Nate starts off his 1,000 push-up challenge for the month, right? He'll do a certain amount of push-ups every day, right? And because that's the only thing that he's focusing on, he can put a coin in like a little piggy bank. He doesn't have to create something, right? But for those of you who read James Clear, the Atomic Habits book, you'll realize this, right? It's a way for you to keep track of those wins. One of the things that he mentions in the book, that he had a client where every single time he would complete a workout, he would put like a paperclip in a little jar, right? That signifies that he got that win for the day. And at the end of the month, he realized that that jar was full of paper clips. And that was a visual representation of every single one of the wins that he accumulated over that period of time, right? And that is extremely powerful. I always tell my clients, and this applies broadly, not just to fitness and nutrition, but to crypto and for life in general. Your success broadly is predicated on your ability to come back in the next day and do it over again. If you keep things simple, then that's not so difficult now, is it? Right? And so that's one of the things that make the carnivore diet, the OMAD, right, the 1 meal a day that Josh, Will, myself included are engaged in, is because it keeps one of the things that people tend to have a difficult time navigating, the nutrition part. It keeps that so simple, right? You eat 1 meal a day. If you're in carnivore, you're only eating one thing. You're eating meat. You don't have to worry about anything else. And so all of that energy that you would have funneled into all the other food groups, right? All the opportunities that you might have had to fuck up during the day, all of that is suddenly gone because you're eating one thing and you're eating one time a day, right? And so I know a lot of people might think that's an extreme, but if you've been having such a difficult time sticking to a fitness and nutrition plan, I think this is one of the things that make those protocols so successful, right? Because they simplify things and they eliminate all the opportunities that you could potentially fuck up. I know, Nate, you said you had a thought on this, and we gave everybody a chance to speak. Why don't you follow up on why you think the simplicity thing would work, not just for you, but for people in general?
So this works the same way as what I teach my trainees at work, right? And what it is like your brain only has so much RAM, right? So much processing power. And so the more and more you're able to make something just kind of routine and just sort of running in the background, the more you're able to think about other things. Okay. So the issue that a lot of people end up running into with like, oh, I have to take, exactly this amount of whatever different types of foods. And do I want to do like this one day or this the other day, blah, blah, blah. Like all that thinking power is wasted, is completely just wasted, And next thing you know, when you start getting kind of like stressed and overwhelmed a little bit, your brain is like, fuck it. And then you just don't do it, So I always tell people, get into a routine and keep it simple, stupid. That's what I always tell people. And so for me, when I'm sitting there like, okay, I've tried a lot of different things before in the past, different meal plans, things like that. And it's not like I'm an expert like you, Jay, about all this fitness stuff, but I try and keep things about as basic as possible. So I just decided, I'm like, you know what? I think what's going to work best and is going to allow me to succeed is if I just say, hey, I'm going to do this many push-ups a day. And kind of like how Josh is doing, I think we're going to kind of move on to that. There's a couple of recipes we'll keep because they're like super favorites of mine that do involve like pizza crust and stuff like that. But I think we're going to do the carnivore diet as well. My whole idea was always just, hey, vegetables, a slight amount of vegetables, not a lot of them, right? Just a small selection, and then meat, just meat. And that's I think what we're going to be doing, me and Mrs. McGettit. And so, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And what I've realized is I love a good salad. you know, I love like, you know, roasted peppers and grilled onions and stuff like that. And but it's more so just staying away from the carbohydrates and the sugars. You know, if you can limit the amount of carbohydrates and the sugars that you take in, you know, most of these diets are going to be okay. What I like most about carnivore and what I like most about what I'm doing is I get to eat as much as I want for that one meal a day. So if I want to gorge out, like if I wanted to, I could eat, you know, a 16-ounce New York strip every day. I choose not to just because I want to, you know, break up the variety. But it'd be interesting to see what your body can get used to, and then how you can push yourself to continue to maintain it. But yeah, I've had good success on it, and it's, you know, it's making me feel a lot better. It's definitely simplified my life. It's made me more productive because I'm not having to worry about, okay, what am I going to do for breakfast? Okay, what am I going to do for lunch? It's like, no, you know, my day is straight between this time and this time. I'm eating. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to gorge out. You know, I'm going to eat as much as I want. But, you know, it's and you'll just see it start to fly right off, man. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely 100% true. You know, Alan has another good comment in the chat. He says that mastering the small stuff allows you to move on to the medium and large items. Could not have said it better myself, right? When you're working on just accomplishing one or two things, suddenly what may have been a difficult skill in the beginning, when you do it enough times, it becomes habitual, right? It becomes as habitual as you get up in the morning and you brush your teeth and you take a shower and you head to work, right? It becomes habitual. And then after those, what used to be very difficult habits turn into something that you can do quite easily every single day without having to think about it, then you could start tacking on more to your plate, right? And then suddenly it snowballs into this extremely large ball of momentum that before you know it, you've reached your goal and maybe then some, right? And so, you know, I know that trying to start on a fitness and nutrition program, you know, folks have already voiced that in the beginning, like for example, Josh and even Cass, you know, have voiced to us how difficult it is to start in the beginning, you know, which is why we've created this group, and which is why, you know, they're opting to choose the very small condensed round as opposed to something more complicated. Now, some people might be thinking, wow, they're like really shilling the OMAD and carnivore diet. Look, just because we like those things doesn't mean that they're the only things that are going to work, right? Most diets will be successful because most diets put you in what? They put you in a calorie deficit. And at the end of the day, no matter what anybody tells you, everything is just math, right? You can't avoid the laws of physics. You can't avoid the laws of thermodynamics. If you create a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight, right? And so we have just chosen the carnivore diet and OMAD as a vehicle to get us to that point. But you could do a if it fits your macros approach. You could do a flexible dieting approach. You could do like a 30-30-40 approach, right? You could do like whatever it is that floats your boat. All of those things can work because they exist on this foundation of you create a calorie deficit and you lose weight. And so don't feel like we're over here shilling the carnivore diet to you. I know that the Alan made a comment earlier about sugar is bad. Oh, look, we can get into that if you want to, but believe me, brother, there are no such things as bad foods. There are only bad habits. I think that's a good topic to actually pivot into.
It's like saying poison is bad. Poison can be good.
Yeah.
I work with it every day.
Everything is in the dosage. Do you guys have this the same? I have this issue, right? And maybe you guys could chime on this. People have a tendency to moralize food, right? If you eat sugar, it's bad. If you eat pizza, it's bad for you, right? Or like vegetables that are good. Right?
I've never
what do you guys
thought
think
about it.
This thing about people moralizing food? Do you think it's a productive exercise?
You know what? There's probably a better way to phrase it, which is that if you consume a whole lot of this one thing, then you're going to have a negative repercussion. That would be a better way to say it, as opposed to being like, I don't know, crocodile legs are the devil or something. It's not quite it doesn't quite roll off the tongue as easy, but I suppose, you know, just as with everything else, there's nuance to any sort of bit of information. I guess the thing that it's kind of like, oh man, I don't want to take us down like a religious rabbit hole, but like a lot of religions use good and bad to kind of get people to do things that are like good or bad. Like saying that crawfish are the devil because, a lot of people got poisoned by like stuff in the Red Sea a long, long time ago, or saying that pig is the forbidden animal and whatever, because trichinosis was really bad long, long, long ago. I think it's trichinosis, but like there's a whole bunch of so when people say sugar is bad, it's very similar to the type of religious like emotional manipulation that is based on sound reasoning, but like it's an oversimplification of a complicated subject. So like if you're dealing with children, or if you're dealing with adults who are children-esque, then that might be the way to go about it. But if you want to give like grown adult human beings good solid behavior, then you're absolutely right, Jay. It would probably be better to like not necessarily say, hey, this food is evil and blah de da. But like the easy the easy solution is, well, I don't know. You got to figure out what your audience needs to hear. So that's a good point, Jay. I had never thought about that before until just now.
Yeah, when it comes to the food thing, it's very easy to gaslight yourself into believing that you're doing something virtuous or morally good. However, when it comes to like fitness and nutrition, something you mentioned earlier, there's a cold hard calculus to this at the end of the day. Mass in minus mass out equals your difference. It's either going to be positive or negative, aka you're either gaining weight or losing weight. You can believe what you want about like doing certain things might make you like better or like perceived to be better, but really it's up to you to figure out what is actually good for you and what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish. If you want to be massive because you want to like get big and lift big, yeah, you're going to be eating a lot of stuff. Some people might say you're gorging yourself, but guess what? If that's what your goal is, that's what your goal is. If your goal is to lose weight, you might be starving yourself a little bit, because guess what? You're effectively just trying to remove mass from your body. So yeah, you're trying to cut stuff out on the way in and on the way out. So you can easily like believe that your shit don't stink. It's very possible, but it just takes that dose of humility to understand if you're being realistic with yourself and you're actually being honest with yourself, or if you're just trying to do this for vanity purpose to appease certain people around you and make people believe that you are better than you actually are.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Go ahead.
I'm doing that exactly, so that way I can appease you fuckers.
So Will actually made a very good point there, right? He brought up the aspect of religion, because believe it or not, the same way that we have religious cults and crypto, religious tendencies tend to bleed into other aspects of life, and the fitness and nutrition community is no different, right?
You have CrossFit.
You have the religion of CrossFit. You have the religion of keto. You have the right. You have the religion of carnivore. You have the religion of OMAD. You have the religion of paleo. Right. You have all sorts of different types of religion, even in the fitness and nutrition industry. That's why I like to, I like to also use the religious analogy there, Will, because they exist everywhere that you go. And one of the primary reasons why I don't particularly like when people moralize food, right? Because we can objectively say when somebody is doing something bad, right? If you stab somebody out of like if you killed somebody out of cold, right? Like what's the thing I'm thinking about, right?
You're talking about premeditated versus unmeditated murder, aka first degree versus third degree versus manslaughter.
No, sir. I was thinking more in the lines of, if you like stab somebody in cold blood, right? We can objectively say that you're a bad person, right?
Yeah.
Because you did it in cold blood, right? That's actually bad. But when you tell somebody sugar is bad, what happens is, and this is something that I've experienced, throughout my time in nutrition, is that when people moralize food, right, and they say, you know what, I'm not going to eat any sugar because sugar is bad. Well, what if before you went on that diet, what if you're somebody who really maybe you're somebody who liked to bake? Right, you like baking cookies, you like baking pastries, you like doing those kinds of things because it's the experience that you enjoy, and you actually enjoy the food. And you eliminate that from your diet because somebody out there on the internet convinced you that sugar is the devil and consuming it means that you are going to hell. Right? What happens when you inevitably, when your willpower, right? Because that's a finite resource. What's going to happen when you inevitably give in to some kind of craving, right? What happens is suddenly you internalize that because sugar is bad, you're a bad person. And what happens is this thing in the industry called we call it the fuckets, right? Because once you have that cookie and you realize that the cookie is bad and you're a bad person for having cookie, you're like, fuck it, I'm a bad person. You know what I'm gonna have? I'm gonna have the whole sleeve of Oreos. I'm gonna go down to the bakery. I'm gonna get myself some bread, some peanut butter, I'm gonna have some pasta. I'm gonna have all that, right? And so suddenly, instead of being able to make the mistake, acknowledging it, and getting back on your routine, the very next moment, suddenly you've fallen off the wagon and you roll down the hill, and you realize that that hill that you fell down from is really fucking steep, and you have to climb a whole, like it's going to be very difficult trek back up. And you suddenly decide, you know what? That's it. I'm not doing it anymore. And then you just end up back into your old habits, right? That's one of the reasons why I tend to not moralize food, because people develop this like terrible psychological relationship to food, right? Have you guys ever had experiences like that where you consume something and because you heard somewhere in the internet that it was a terrible thing to do, that you felt like a shitty person for doing it?
I have sinned.
Yeah. Last time I did cocaine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much that, but it was more so of the mindset of, similar to what you said, the fuck it mindset. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, all right, you know, I've done X amount of work for X amount of time. And it's I don't know if it's the shame or you start to resent yourself if you have one of those days or something like that. But not as far as like, you know, having any sort of moral quandary with eating food. I think it's, you know, because I understand everything is okay in moderation. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is okay in moderation. Sugar, you know, it's okay in moderation. You know, when I have the opportunity to every once in a blue moon to take my daughter to get ice cream, like that is a thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not going to be like, no, I'm a bad father because I'm giving my daughter, you know, ice cream every now and then, but I'm also not pumping my daughter full of sugar at the same time. I'm not going to do that. So, you know, I think, does that answer the question? I guess.
Yeah. Let me give a better example, Josh. You know how people who are vegan, they point to us who are not vegan, and then they tell us.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So this is sometimes described as the difference between shame and guilt, which is believing that you have done a bad thing or you are bad for doing a thing. This is going to be one of those ideas that can entirely throw you off a train, like Jay, you were talking about earlier, which is that the fuck it mentality of like, oh no, I already messed up, therefore the whole thing's just gone to shit and it's not worth saving or continuing. It's this mental fallacy that you kind of got to get over, which is that understand where you want to go, how you're going to get there. And even if you don't 100% stick to that plan, it's okay. And it's not worth abandoning, because the destination and the journey along the way are both worth pursuing, and not just giving up because you've fallen short once, twice, a week, whatever. It's the difference between believing that you want to be a certain way and live a certain way, as opposed to you are trying to accomplish a task. Because if you believe that you're just trying to accomplish this task of I'm going to eat healthy for 30 days or whatever, once you fall short on it, if you don't believe that that is what you want to do forever or for a specific reason, then it's very easy to be like, I didn't do this thing, I can just toss it aside and it's not going to matter. So yeah, I mean, this kind of goes back to the idea of like moralizing things that are amoral. This is very much, is it fun to cheer for teams? Yes, that is why cheering for sports is so much fun. At the same time, don't confuse yourself in the stands with somebody that's on the field doing the work and actually getting the W. It goes back to that religious aspect. Some people say that humans have a God-shaped hole in their chest they will try to fill with anything. You can try to throw food or workouts in here as well and try to appease that part of your monkey brain that wants to just latch onto this greater good mentality or something that's higher than you, because it's easy to hand wave away and explain as something that you don't have to rationalize. But at the same time, understand, like, yeah, you can get tripped up with stuff, you can get lost in things, but believe that, like, what you're doing is worthwhile, not just to accomplish it, but to actually just be that way as more of a solid state instead of just, like, something you do once.
Yeah, I think it's a motivator. That's what that's what it kind of seems like to me. Because remember, humans go off of beliefs, you know. And so when you make a certain food bad, that's the food that maybe you have a weakness for, and so you make it bad, so that way you believe that you can't be eating it, otherwise, you'll go to hell, right? However, the problem with beliefs and belief systems is that as soon as you see someone else eating it and they're just fine eating that food, then it's like, you terrible person, you.
Yeah.
That's when you start running into problems. And so I can understand like the whole side of like, yeah, I need to believe this and able to help myself, but at the same time, it's like this is where I call it the calm down effect. Calm down, bro. Where it's like, let people just do whatever the hell they're gonna go do, and as long as they're not bothering you, it should not be a problem. Let them go do their thing.
It's a good point, Nate, because when, like you said, like let's say you've gotten success out of doing carnivore, but somebody is really about veganism, right? They've had great success in doing a vegan diet, and then you tell them, look, I've lost all this weight doing carnivore, and suddenly what happens is part of their worldview has been shattered, right? And people have a tendency to latch on powerfully to their belief systems, and so when you tell them that you've succeeded doing something else, there's a tendency for folks to defend that belief system, right? Because otherwise they kind of lose the foundation that they were standing on, right? And nobody likes being rugged. Nobody likes being rugged in crypto. Nobody likes being rugged in life in general. And so you made a very good point there. I think that's one of the reasons why people have a tendency to become so defensive when they come across other types of nutrition protocols, is because it has a tendency to shatter their belief system. But like we mentioned earlier, for most things, right? The dose is in the poison. Too much water can kill you. Mercury in certain doses can kill you, but in trace amounts, it actually has some use for in your body, right? And so, when you're going on this journey, just realize that anything in the proper dosage can be beneficial, and more than that can be detrimental, right? And so that's one of the things that I think is going to set us apart when it comes to this whole enterprise, is because you're going to come in here and we're not going to try and shill you any one type of fitness regimen or any one type of nutrition protocol, right? I'm fortunate enough to be joined by Casey. If you guys are in the Telegram chat, you know him. He works in the industry as well. James, you have quite a handful of people who have experience when in this industry utilizing different types of protocols, and so you're going to be able to get that breadth of knowledge across the three of us, and probably other people in the group as well, right? Because we're going to utilize each other the same way that we utilize each other for information about crypto. Right. And so I think that's one of the primary reasons that's going to set us apart, and why people are going to be successful if they decide to join us in this particular enterprise. Right. Because you're going to get a broad spectrum of knowledge, and we're not just going to show you something because we have a religious attachment to it. One more thing that I wanted to talk about before we kind of round it off and go to questions, if the chat or if you guys have any particular questions, is that Josh mentioned something that I really like, right? His ability to, instead of postponing things to do with his daughter, now because he's a little bit fitter, he's a bit more active, now he doesn't really delay those things anymore. And I think that's one of the things that people miss when starting a fitness and nutrition journey, right? For the most part, people think it's just for themselves, but one of the things that I tell my clients is, one of the reasons why I do this, even though my dad always asks me this all the time. My son, you're already so fit. Why do you keep doing more? And why do you keep doing this every day? And I tell my dad this all the time. It's like, look, the reason why I get up every morning and do this is because it allows me to put my best foot forward, right? If I take care of myself physically within the nutrition realm, right, that means I'm able to put my best foot forward in all other aspects of my life. It bleeds into all other aspects of my life. That means I'm better for the other people in my life as well. Right. And this is one of the things that I tell my own personal clients is, look, you might be doing this because you just want to look good and feel good, right? For a lot of people, that they might consider that just purely vanity reasons. But you have to realize that you are also going to be a better person for all the other people in your life, because now you're going to be able to be a better version of yourself whenever you engage with them, right? Just think about it. When you're at work, you're going to be able to be a good worker for that company because you're not going to be calling out on sick. You're going to have more energy. And so, when Josh, can you please talk about how you engaging in fitness and nutrition and trying to create better health for yourself, how that's going to affect you as a father and your relationship with your daughter as well in the future?
What's funny is while you were speaking, I was just thinking about this So my daughter, when she comes over, she likes to watch the iPad. Sometimes she'll lay in my bed and watch my iPad. She'll watch like YouTube Kids or something like that. I'll go in there and check on her. And a lot of times she wants to play. She wants to tickle fight. I remember about 2 weeks ago, I went in there and we wrestled for like a solid 30 minutes and it was great. And it was like, I sat up at the end of it and I realized, I was like, yeah, I'm not tired from this. Like, I don't need to walk away. I don't need to chill out or anything like that. It was just, a part of normal life. And not only that, but, my work has improved, my stamina and my, ability to get through the day without, needing any sort of stimulants like coffee or energy or something like that, or not feeling tired. Yeah, I tell you, man, like there are times you guys know what I do for work. I don't want to dox what I do for work, but there are times that I'm at work before I actually have to execute what I'm doing for work, where I'll have a little bit of downtime and I'm just sitting there and my body will just feel phenomenal. I don't know if it's increased blood circulation. I don't know if it's like my heart doesn't have to pump as hard to get blood through it, but it's like my body just feels amazing to the point where I can just be sitting there and I'll just be like, dude, I feel phenomenal. And it's just, it's a mixture of the diet and the exercise and stuff like that. And it's only going to improve life. Okay. That's it. It's only going to improve life. Now, if you're exercising and you hurt yourself, then yeah, that could be a negative. Okay. That's why you have to set reasonable expectations, reasonable goals for yourself at first.
It's like crypto.
Right. You don't want to, day one, you don't want to be out there running 26 miles to try to run a marathon. No. Like you need to start slow and you have to have reasonable expectations. And that's just, the fact of the matter. But I'm telling you, man, what is that? I don't even think you can come up with one negative about fitness. Like there is none, or proper nutrition. It is only a benefit in life. It's only going to, boost your confidence. It's only going to help you feel better, help you look better. And, it's just that one or two small decisions a day to just get fucking started. Mm-hmm. Just get started. Set simple goals and just get off the couch and do it. Yeah. And if you can do that and you can keep that rolling, I think, what was it? Alan mentioned about, becoming a master of the small things. And what's the old wives' tale? What is it? Don't be afraid of the guy who does 1,000 things one time. It's be afraid of the guy that does one thing 1,000 times, right?
That is a Bruce Lee, my friend.
Oh,
I fear
that's
not
Bruce
the man
Lee.
who has tried 1,000 punches.
There you go.
I fear the man who has done one punch 1,000 times.
There it is. That's applicable to fitness. That's applicable to everything in life. But keep it simple and just get off the couch and do it. And I'm telling you, everybody else that's on this panel can sit here and tell you it's only going to improve life and it's only going to, make things better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Josh, how do you think becoming a fitter, healthier version of yourself would benefit your daughter in the future? I can think of one. It's like tongue in cheek though.
Yeah. I mean, just for me being around longer, me being able to set a solid influence, set a good example for her, show her the type of guy that hopefully she becomes attracted to in the future. And it ultimately, when your fitness game is on point, it's going to elevate every single aspect in life. It's going to motivate you, whether you're an entrepreneur, into maybe, thinking of other business opportunities. It's going to give you more energy to be able to do that sort of thing. It's going to give you the confidence to go out and talk to people, to execute deals, or to make sales, or whatever aspect of life is. So, it's one small thing that is going to have such a large impact on every other aspect of life. And just, being around for my daughter, being able to keep up with her energy and her stamina, and not being that out of shape dad when she have friends come over or something like that, you know what I'm saying? Or just not being that slob. It's huge. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, you didn't mention it, but you might have been thinking it. What happens when Josh is jacked and tan, and then boys come over trying to
for sure. There's that aspect. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, my daughter is awesome, and I know she's gonna get to that phase in life. But I have such a good relationship with her that, she listens to Daddy. Daddy's number one in her life, and it's going to take a very strong guy to be able to win her attention over. But yeah, it's only going to make it better. If I'm jacked and tan versus, overweight and sloppy and lounging in a recliner or something like that, when they walk into my garage and they see, I got a full squat rack in there with, 400 pounds of weights hanging off the wall and stuff like that, they might think, all right, well, I'm going to keep it respectful with this one and maybe move on down the street. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, maybe conduct yourself a bit better around dad.
Come correct. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to go ahead and actually, there's a few good chats here. There are a few folks chiming in with their favorite way to get their activity in. Mr. Large and in charge mentions here he plays Pokemon Go to get his steps in throughout the day. I'm assuming that is actually, look, in addition to the simplicity aspect that we spoke about earlier, I think if you want to make this a lifestyle thing and not just a 10 to 16 week thing, you have to find those activities that you enjoy doing, right? And Large, he likes to play Pokemon Go to get his steps in, so why not get some activity while you're playing your video game, right?
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that comment? I don't know if you guys realize this or remember this when Dance Dance Revolution came out, and it was like childhood obesity took a dip because of Dance Dance Revolution, because all these teenagers was all of a sudden jumping around playing a video game doing Dance Dance Revolution, and it actually encouraged fitness, and childhood obesity took a little bit of a dip. Now, of course, it's come back up, but yeah, good case in point. It's easy to get out there, walk around, to do stuff, whether it's, brainstorming something, having fun, doing a game, something. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, look at Will, right? He swings a freaking 10-pound mace, 7-pound mace to get his fitness in, right? I happen to like the weights. That's just my thing. Some people might like to bike or hike, right? You have to find something that you enjoy doing in order for that thing to go from a 10 to 16 week program to something that you could do forever. It's really funny that Josh mentioned the DDR thing. Totally not scripted. So for those of you who don't know, I used to be, I was diagnosed clinically obese back when I started high school, right? I was 5'2", 240 pounds. So you can just imagine that, right?
Wild.
Yeah. Right. So clinically obese, all of the blood markers to go along with that diagnosis, I had it, right. 3 times normal amount of cholesterol, triglycerides through the roof, blood. Like I was pre-diabetic. I had high blood pressure, everything that came along with it. And the thing that I did to lose, I think this was like the first 40 to 60 pounds of weight. I played DDR, right? I played Dance Revolution.
Whoa, yeah. An Asian person playing Dance Dance Revolution. Jay, you are breaking barriers, my friend.
Bro, I think I was the first person to bring DDR here to the States because I brought it from the Philippines in 2000. I don't think there were arcade machines here yet in the US. So I think I was the very first person to bring Dance Dance Revolution here to America. And I used that to lose the overwhelming majority of the weight. I went from 240 to I believe around 180 pounds just playing Dance Dance Revolution. That's all I did because I was like, I don't really know anything about exercise. I don't really know anything about nutrition. I do like to play that game though. And so I played that game for hours every single day. And you could imagine, right? I'm sure you guys have seen videos of people playing that thing at the expert difficulty and how fast they move. I was playing that thing at the expert difficulty, man.
That's
So
awesome.
right. So you gotta find something that you enjoy doing, right? Me and Josh like to hit the weights. Will likes to, swing a mace. Cass likes to ride her bike. You have to find something that you enjoy doing, right? In order to turn something short term into something forever.
Do you mind if I ask Nate a question real quick?
Go for it, bro.
I know I'm just blown away by Cassie's motivation right now. If you're comfortable, can you just talk about her level of commitment that she's made since she decided to get on this journey? Is that something you're comfortable talking about and just bragging on it a little bit? Because, she is just fully committed and it's awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's something that she's been trying quite a bit in the past, right? It's something that she has been working on, but it's like she'll move forward with it and then move backwards, move forward, move backwards. Truthfully, I've done the exact same thing, right? But what she's doing right now is at this point, she's kind of got the same sort of sense, same sort of vibe as I've got, where it's like, I really don't want to disappoint these guys because it's very clear that they're doers. They're guys that, in Cassie's words, that are on your level. And so when she's like every single day, what was it? I think it was just this morning, or maybe it was yesterday morning. You know me in the mornings, hon. But I literally, me zombieing out of bed, I literally heard her go say, "Oh, I gotta get my exercise clothes on so that way I'll get on my bike." That right there kind of triggered. And I thought about it later on. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So she's making sure that she's doing this every single day.
Yeah.
She's able to get those 60 minutes in, and then she's able to post that onto the chat there. And so I'm extremely proud of her. It's absolutely amazing that she's actually doing this.
And that's a little trick that I do because look, Joe Rogan says it best. There are times you just got to look in your inner bitch and be like, no, we're going to fucking do this. There are times to get myself ready to go out for a 2.5 mile run. I'll put my shoes on and that way I don't have an excuse. That's one less excuse to have is, all right, I got my running shoes on. I got my shorts on. I got my hoodie on. Now we can sit here and we can watch TV for like 5 or 10 minutes, but your ass is getting up. You're getting your headphones and we're going out for this run. So yeah, even something like that, that's awesome, dude. That's I can't brag enough. Like seeing, like she was like, okay, I'm doing it. And then all I see every single day, 60 minutes, check, 60 minutes, check, 60 minutes, check. And then that made me make the little comment is like, come October, if we're in New York for the SEC thing, she's going to blow away in a strong breeze. Like one of those New York breezes come through or something like that. She's going to blow away in a strong breeze if she keeps it up. So that's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, that'll be fantastic for her too, so yeah, I'm quite proud of her. It's great to see, and to see like a little bit behind the scenes, right? But to see the motivation of why she's doing it and everything, that also makes me extremely proud as well. It's also kind of a bit of pressure for anyone who knows, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's go ahead and say hi to what's going on in chat. Chat is actually really freaking busy, so thank you guys for engaging. Okay, let's see here. I'm trying to scroll back up here. Yeah, a lot of people have
stars. We got 7 stars.
Oh, let's do it. Okay, Centurion, very nice to see you, my friend. And obviously, we've got it. Brown, Mr. Farmer Brown has been making a lot of good comments in the chat as always. Man, this guy's a freaking degenerate. But there's a few here that I actually wanted to take a look at because there are really good suggestions. Crypto Stylist, thank you for suggesting. They said that walk while you're listening to the podcast. A great way to get your steps in. See who else here. Mr. Allen actually brought up another good point. You're not shilling, Allen, believe me. He actually mentioned something about Steppen, right? For those of you guys that don't know Steppen, they're the I think the racket with Steppen is you accumulate the coin while you're walking, and so you're able to monetize your fitness. For those of you who were here a few emergency streams ago, we actually I was actually looking at an article talking about Steppen's partnership with Adidas. So now I'm pretty sure that you're going to be able to, when you buy a pair of sneakers from Adidas, you're going to be able to bring that, like tokenize that as an NFT. So if they had like some kind of like game in collaboration with Steppen, like your character can now wear the shoes that you bought in real life. So that's another fantastic way, right? So like, look, a lot of people might have something to say about Steppen, that it's just like a pump and dump coin, right? Or just like it's an inflationary coin because you just sell whatever you make. But I mean, here, look, if it gets people to go out there and become active and take a few steps, then more power to them, right? So I love that they're doing that. Let's see what else. Yeah, large. Adidas. So look up Steppen and Adidas, and you'll see the article that I am talking about, right? Let's see what else here. They're I like Twinkies. Yeah, Twinkie's comment. He says, where was that, man? He says, Jay playing DDR. You can't give me shit about stereotypes ever again. So this guy, Mr. Angry Twinkie, posted something in the chat earlier about him doing backflips. So I'm like, bro, like, you're Asian, you're good at math, you're good at crypto, and now you're telling me you're also a fucking ninja warrior. I mean, like, can you be any more of an Asian stereotype, bro? Like, come on now. For those of you in the chat, take a look at what Twinkie's doing, man. He's doing backflips while he's in the gym showing off. So but yeah, so that's basically everything that we wanted to cover here in the premiere stream. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up to the chats, to the panel. If you guys had if you had like any questions, comments, or concerns that you want to bring up before you round it off here.
I mean, I just think the most important thing, like I said, is just getting off the couch and starting. You know, if you want, I can show my cardio fitness tracker. Would you like to? I can show that if you guys want to see that. But this was just me, making the decision to get off the couch and do it. You can see it started small. For those of you, this isn't an endorsement of the app that I use. It's called 5K Runner app. It's absolutely perfect for me. It starts you very slow and it gets you to the point of being able to run a 5K. And you can set it 2 or 3 days a week. But if you see down here, it starts off something very simple. I think it was a minute of walking and a minute of running. And then you did that 6 times. And that's what it was. And then as you can see, you guys can see the dates, the calories increase, the distance increases, and all that stuff. And this is something that I do 3 days a week. And then the other 3, I'm doing the 5x5 strong lifts, just, a certain workout lifting routine that I like to do there. But yeah, just, if you guys need help or motivation when it comes to any sort of, app to guide you or anything like that, find something that works for you. Set a simple goal. All right. My goal was simple when I started. I said, all I'm going to do, I'm going to knock out exactly what this app is telling me to do today. That's all I'm going to do. That's my goal. And boom, I accomplished it. 2 days later, exact same goal. Threw the shoes on, went out there and ran, accomplished that goal. And, as time has gone on, being able to get my cardio up and how much easier it is to run and stuff like that. But it all starts with just making the decision to get off the couch, making the decision to find even 30 minutes in your day, just 30 simple minutes before work, after work, during work, whenever. And just, okay, from this time to this time, I'm going to enter the pain zone. And it's going to suck for 30 minutes, but for the rest of, for the next 23 hours and 30 minutes, I'm going to feel glad that I did it. So
yes,
that was my comment. Just getting off the couch. It's the biggest step.
Yep, exactly. Biggest step. Before we close it out here, I wanted to mention James Clear again. One of the things that he mentions in his book Atomic Habits was precisely that, right? You just get off the couch. That one simple step gets you started. One of his clients, what they would do to get themselves into the gym was, look, you don't even have to go and work out. All you have to do is go in there, walk in through the door. And every single time his client walked in through the door, he was like, well, I'm already here. I might as well do 10 minutes, right? Warm up, take a walk on the treadmill. And then he was like, well, I already took a 10-minute walk. I'm warmed up. I got my blood and my juices flowing. Let's go and lift some weights, right? So very good point. Just a single step, that simple first step, getting off the couch and deciding to, okay, I'm going to walk outside the door, put my running shoes on and like run around the block. And before you know it, you've run a few miles, right? So before we close it out here are the things that you can expect out of this section of DRT, right? We've already created a separate Telegram chat. It's still within the main chat, right? But it's the main chat is now, if you've noticed, has been broken down into sections. One of the sections is going to be the fitness and nutrition accountability chat, right? Like I mentioned earlier, that is going to be the landing page for any and all questions and information that you might want from us. Every single Friday we are doing, or upon request, right? But our goal is to do a fitness and nutrition AMA stream every single Friday. We had the very first one this past Friday with Casey, and we answered a whole bunch of questions that the members had. And so expect something like that every single Friday. I think this Friday we're going to cover how to properly track your macros, and we're also going to be talking about supplements. So look forward to that.
Real quick, Jay. When
Yep.
you say stream, you're talking about in the Telegram, right? Not on YouTube.
Yes,
For the folks at home who don't know the difference.
Yep, this will be exclusive just to our Telegram members, right? So if you want the sauce, then you are going to have to go to Telegram and catch the AMAs exclusive there. Like I mentioned, Casey and James will be helping me run that chat as well.
And it's once a week, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
every
basically,
Friday,
it's kind of like an accountability thing all in itself. Like if what you can do, guys, is you can. So if you want to take that step, right, and you want to take, like, I actually want to get in shape, you can actually go into our Telegram, private message, Jay or whoever, or even just put it straight up in the chat, have everybody else see it, right? Have it public, right? And say, hey, I have a goal. I want to achieve that. What you're able to do then is on a weekly basis, get into that AMA, start asking questions of like, how can I better achieve my goal? How can I get over these hurdles that I'm having that's causing me to not achieve them or fail at them? And then you can have some accountability partners with us, literally, And Jay, he's been doing, like, he's a complete professional in this. I mean, Casey and James, they all do that stuff, right? So you've got really good resources to be able to achieve your dreams with this, with like a weight loss sort of thing. You can achieve that dream, right? Because there's people helping you. All you need to do is get in there, get the plan together, do the work. Even if you fail, there's people there to pick you back up and you continue on with it again. So this is a really big deal, a huge, highly amount of valued information coming out here.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you have an extensive workout history like Jay, Zenith, Will, or if you're just starting brand new like me and Nate. We're gonna celebrate like your decisions, and we're gonna celebrate the success with you. You're never going to hear anything negative about that. And if you need a little bit of encouragement, if you need an a large accountability group, that's what we're there for. Yep. You're going to keep you motivated. So, and we're going to help you celebrate it along the way.
Yeah. And, I'm going to speak for myself, but I'm actually going to start posting regularly in that chat saying like, hey, guys, I got my workout on today. I hit my macros today. That way, all of you can see that I'm keeping myself accountable to you as well, and use us, like lean on us, right? This is completely free for now, but obviously once we it's not going to be free forever, right? So you're getting a lot of value there currently, and the only thing that you have to do is join our Telegram channel, right? And so aside from those AMAs, I have there posted a living document that I will update with as much information as I possibly can. The information that's there right now is basically your starter kit, what you need in order to get started today, right? And it'll go over how to create your meal plan, how your training plan, how like the next steps to follow once you've achieved like your weight loss goals, like how to modify your nutrition plan, right? That living document is going to be updated with every single thing that the community might ask, right? And so if you have a question, then jump in there, ask your question, and we will add your question and that answer to that living document, right? So yeah, use this as a resource. With that being said, thank you once again, everybody, for joining me. The folks in the chat right now, the people that are going to be joining us on Replay Gang, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you, panelists, for being here and being part of this group. Zenith, can you tell people where to find you, what we've got coming up, maybe for book club? What you got in store?
Absolutely. I got to say, we actually have a pretty good tie-in for book club this week. We're also launching fitness stuff because, like the man that makes, or from the man that makes the protein powders Milk, aka Jocko Willink, we are going to be covering his book, Extreme Ownership. For those of you that don't know, Jocko Willink is former Navy SEAL himself and guy that trained the SEAL teams. So you can expect that he's a bit of a hard ass, so to speak. So the book is Extreme Ownership. You can probably guess what it's about. Accountability is a word that gets thrown out a lot. However, at the same time, understand that accountability is only something that you can do to yourself, or unless you have justice power over someone else, such as military code of uniform justice or legally, can't really do much about it. So with that being said, you got to find it within you. And yeah, we're doing book club Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then Jay, what time are you doing your stream at?
The AMA is going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern, so 2 hours before book club.
There you go.
In the Telegram.
Yes, in the Telegram. In the Telegram.
There you go. 2 hours in the Telegram, probably 2 hours on stream with us. And then for all we know, Will and I are going to hop on the Hangout and stream for another 4.5 hours after that. So that's what our future looks like. Jesus.
You bet that's what I'm going to do.
That's what we got. Anyways, I'm Zenith. You can find me at ZenithDI on Instagram, Twitter, and Hexaco Space Force for the YouTubes for all your memes and weird green eggs and ham videos. Other than that, that's what I got. Passing it over to Nate McGettit.
Yeah. Here's the thing, guys. So what other stream is out here helping everybody in such a personal manner, right? Our community is absolutely incredible, and it's absolutely fantastic that we were able to form this group, trying to help each other out, right? Just with crypto in general, but then it started turning into more than just crypto, and then we started this podcast, and then it's turned into all of you guys, the entire community, everyone here, and we're all in this together. We are creating champions, right? We are creating, like, all of us here, we're helping each other create the best human beings possible. And that's ultimately what it is that we want to do in life, right? We want to become the best versions of ourselves. And that's what we are trying to do here. And we appreciate you guys supporting us the entire way, as well as participating with us. So hats off to you guys, if I had a hat. But yeah, otherwise, the Ascending Man on all channels, either Nate McGettit, as it's spelled right there, or the Ascending Man on all channels, X and Instagram, Telegram, wherever, right? You can go ahead, go find me. If you have any questions, go ahead, hit me up. I am taking consultations for if you think that your portfolio is really not quite good. I would consider getting into that immediately because of the dips that are currently happening. And there is a possibility of continual dips for the next couple or several actually months. So this is the time. This is I would say this is the final time to get in to yeet your money at the market before we start really pumping hardcore. So get in, guys. Get into that Telegram, by the way, too, because this is an extreme amount. Like, there's no community that is this good. I don't care about all these other influencers I hear like, oh, we're the best community ever. All I hear is like, go buy a thing. That's all I ever hear out of them. Meanwhile, we're over here literally doing this for free. Other than maybe Sami. Sami kind of like does his whole free thing, but I think that's about it. But anyways, I'm rambling at this point. Get into the Telegram, guys. Get in there.
Yeah, and I have a personal request for everybody in our chat. Talk about keeping people accountable. Starting tomorrow, I want you guys to tag Nate in that chat. Nate, did you get your push-ups done today?
I'm doing it the second I get off.
Cass, you got your bike in today. Jay, you got your workout in today. Will, did you get your swings in today, man? Keep each other accountable, right? Lead on each other. Will, how about you, my friend? What you got coming up? Where can people find you?
Oh man, I got some really cool shit coming up, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This Saturday, going on over in Springfield, Missouri, we are doing a Hex Meetup, another fantastic meetup in the Hex Meetup channel. This one's organized by I don't know if he said anything live on stream or if he chatted anything live, so I will leave his name out, but there's a fantastic gentleman in our community that is organizing a meetup. Actually it's Paul Sachs, because he's organizing it like live in the actual Hex Meetup channel. So I'll go ahead and dump the link in the chat. If you guys are in Missouri, or if you're near Missouri and you want to come travel over and meet up with a whole bunch of other Hexicans, we're going to be meeting around noontime at a designated location in Springfield, Missouri, which is going to be super awesome, super cool, super fun. So, excuse me. click on that link if you want to join the Hex Meetup chat and specifically like see the thing that we're talking about. If the Hex Meetup chat is completely new to you, then when you get in there, there's a tab that says Start Here. There's a whole bunch of topics. They're organized by like location and things of that nature. So if you find a location that is near you, excellent. Go meet up with other Hexicans in there. Other than that, you guys can find me at linktree/Will Stevenson. That's got all of my socials. It's got all of my work, all the things that I do, including the Degen Roundtable, the podcast that we run, the Telegram that you can join. Remember, if you guys want to join our community, it is bit.ly/degenerate_roundtable. And again, you can find me at linktree/Will Stevenson. Mr. Josh, what have you got going on in the near future, my friend?
Yeah, just real quick. So I've already had one of those moments where it's like, okay, so I'm going to start this tomorrow, this whole thing. But you know what? I've decided, you know what? Even though I would like to, you know, split up the amount of push-ups, I think I'm going to do them all at one time immediately after the stream here. And then I'm going to be posting that as soon as I'm done.
All
in the chat here.
Do you remember
saying
when we
1,
started the stream?
No, not 1,000 day, dude.
Okay.
Break, but
I was like, God damn, dude. Okay, I misunderstood you. Sorry, Zenith. What was that?
I've set out a daily amount that I want to do, and I'm going to do them. And I want to do them in like two separate times. But after the stream, I'm doing them all at one time, just to get things started.
Love it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. My name is Josh. You guys can find me on Instagram or on Twitter at Chocolate Taints with an S on the end of it. That's where you guys can find me. I'm also in the Telegram. So if you guys want to contact me, just either tag me, send me a DM in the Telegram, or find me on socials. Going up to Dover, Delaware for the NASCAR race this weekend. So looking forward to that. Taking my daughter there. Heading down to the Bahamas on a cruise at the beginning of May. So that's going to be fun. Looking forward to doing that. And just looking forward to the opportunities to add value to the streams that we're going to be putting out here coming up. And, making bank and trying to look good while doing it. So,
yes, sir.
That's all I got. What you got, Jay?
Yeah, guys, once again, thank you so much for everybody joining us this evening live. For those of you joining us in the replay, thank you as well. For our panel, thank you so much for putting this together. Could not do this without the rest of you guys here. As always, you could find me on X at _P90Hex and on Instagram at agent_J Schroth. If you guys, if you folks are wondering, what are Jay's accolades, my Instagram page is basically just me posting my client success stories. So if you want to see my resume, there's my freaking resume. As far as what we got planned next, Friday AMA book club, and then obviously our Sunday episode, and maybe, who knows, man, maybe Will and Paul might decide to do an impromptu stream while they're meeting on Saturday. Who knows, right? So once again, thank you for joining us. We know time is your most valuable asset, and we do appreciate that you spend some of that time here with us on this wonderful Wednesday evening. You could be anywhere else, but you are here with us on the DRT stream. So on that, you know what people always say, degen responsibly? Shit, man. We're in crypto. Degen irresponsibly. Just kidding. Take care, guys.